American Horror Story, Season 3, titled Coven. Okay, I'm going to review this, but in all honesty, this is probably going to be a long rant, but we're going to try to have fun with it. This is one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen. I'm speaking for my wife and I both. You're going to see me looking down at my computer a lot. I took some notes because I don't want to leave anything out. Oh my God, this was one of the most frustrating things ever. Look, I know it's been a while. The show's been on. It's been dying a slow death all this time. I should start out by saying the first 2 seasons of this were incredible. We loved it. We had a blast watching it. The first season didn't really leave you with any kind of redemptive quality over anything that happened, but still, we enjoyed it. The second one we loved even more. Asylum, it was really good. Everything. This third one, though, oh my God. This season, every other one that followed. Watching this show is like listening to someone speak in non sequiturs. You know, where you're not quite sure why they respond to what you said in a way that branches away from the actual context of the conversation thus far. And it begs many questions that feel pointless to ask. We kept watching mainly out of curiosity and to see how many compounding trivialities would get thrown in. But also, as this show progresses, the acting is so compelling. Everyone involved, well, almost everyone, is giving it their all. And I'm glad to see Evan Peters, particularly, continuing in this. I'm not even familiar with anything else he does. I'm getting the good stuff out of the way first, the things we appreciated about it. Angela Bassett, she is as cool as ever and just an absolute joy to watch. Even if there are hateful, evil things about her, just like almost everyone else in this, she's just too cool. So is Jessica Lange. No matter how much I hated her character, she's been good consistently. As far as I know, she's in every season of this show. I had a hope, before we started this season, that the subject matter of Coven would get some kind of new treatment, but nope. Like every other TV show about witchcraft, and most movies, it takes an inadvertently Christian perspective, where everything boils down to either Satan or some other evil supernatural mastermind. And we're supposed to just kind of forget about that along the way and come to like these characters. And it's just, most shows and movies, you know, it's witches. You know, somebody finds out they're a witch. Oh, well, I'm a witch. Okay, so I'll just say this spell, and they shoot fireballs, and it's the same old thing. It's the same old thing. But rarely have I seen so many hypocrisies presented all together, in which the writers of the show seem to have missed. I once saw a priestess somewhere in Colorado in a video who perhaps said it best. If a movie or show were to be made about actual witchcraft, it would be dreadfully boring. You'd have an old poor woman living in the country working with natural remedies and healing, keyword healing, intentions, who's likely to have been shunned by society, even though many of that society's citizens, too poor to afford a real doctor, secretly go to visit her because what she does works. Then all those people go back home and don't discuss it with their friends and family, even though many of them go to see her too, and each knows or suspects it of the others. She calls herbs and plants and roots by the old names for them, often named for other things they appear to resemble, such as bat wings, which is holly, or bird's foot, which is fenugreek, or bloody fingers, which is foxglove. The list goes on, of course. And, you know, those who would demonize them take these names literally and assume they're working with body parts of humans and animals. it all remains a huge taboo subject. Actually, you know what? This is just like my grandmother's uncle. Wow. What, my grandmother's uncle was a witch. Oh my God, my dad told me this story. I'm not straying, trust me. This would be in the mid-1950s. My dad, I think he was 5 or 6, he got the measles. And they were, you know, poor as can be, lived in the hills of West Virginia, a little mining town. And my grandmother walked him a long way to go see her uncle, who was a witch, who was already very old at that time. She told me that recently. Lived alone, built his own house. He could see what the problem is. They walked in, she asked, can you help him? And he said, yeah. Take him down and have him collect 9 stones from the river and bring them back and set them on the fence, you know, the top crossboard of a fence. Just have him collect them and put them up there. They did. He put them up there. She took him back in. Okay, what do we do now? He said, go on home. He'll be fine. I said, okay. Good to see you. They walked home. He went to bed. He woke up. Not only were the measles gone, but he felt good. He felt really good. And this was a situation that was kind of common. You know, others did it, and they just don't talk about it. It remains a taboo. The hypocrisies in this show. There were so many jabs at Christians in this, and some of it you feel like, yeah, good, you got that out. That was a good point. And yet, you also think, no, it's coming from this character. This is utter hypocrisy. I'm not buying it. There's that to a woman at one point. There's the neighbors to this witch house are a Christian family, and they have this good, nice Christian boy who likes, who's become friends with one of the girls there, and he's a good, likable guy. At some point, it doesn't matter that he's in a Christian family, but it does as far as his mother is concerned. And she turns out to be an evil bitch. As much of a murdering evil bitch as many of these other witch characters. And so the point is lost, these jabs at Christianity they're making, when that turns out to be the case. And again, we can relate this to things really happening. My God, I remember in the news reading about this guy, who was a pagan of one tradition or another, had left a note on the door of a woman, obviously Christian. She had Christmas lights everywhere, just had decorated her house in the spirit of Christmas, nativity scene out. And he left this long note attached to her door saying, hey, have fun with your holiday that was stolen from pagan tradition. And he went on in this spirit, just talking about how, okay, a lot of you watching this are already going to know this, but you know, the winter solstice, this is celebrated all over the world, so many cultures, traditions. On December 22nd, the sun appears to us to sink to its lowest position in the sky, and it stays there for 3 days. And on the 3rd day, he rose again. And thus begins the cycle of the sun going ever higher till summer solstice. And this all appears against the backdrop of the Virgo constellation. 2,000 years ago, the sun enters Pisces. You get how this Christianity thing happens. Now, this guy takes this and decides to use it as an offensive weapon. I'm sorry, that's wrong. You're doing that in the wrong spirit. He's just using it, knowledge, as an offensive. Don't do that. You acquire knowledge for the simple sake of acquiring knowledge, and use wise judgment with how and when to use that, or to simply discuss it with others. When you rub it in someone's face like, well, anyways, you get my point. That kind of thing happens throughout this show. Very same thing with points attempted to be made about racism. As a black girl tries to force a 19th century psycho to understand why racism is bad, yet she herself turns out to be a murderer. So the point is lost. And she takes a casual delight in the murder, too. At another point, Barack Obama is on television, and Kathy Bates is in disbelief that a black man has become president. And Jessica Lange says, yeah, I voted for him twice. So we, the audience, are supposed to be saying, yeah, you tell her, rub it in her face. But she, too, is a murdering bitch. So, again, the whole point is lost. The inconsistencies and hypocrisies. I mean, was this lost on the writers, or are we supposed to forget these characters' defining actions in such scenes? There's some random zombie sex. One of these girls, maybe the bitchiest, most hated of them all, played by Emma Roberts, she and Evan Peters' characters both become zombies. So that means one of them is a zombie witch, and they're caught having sex. And another girl walks in, one of the characters who were supposed to be experiencing all this through her eyes and her experience. She finds this, and they hold out their hands and invite her to have sex with them. And she says, okay, and jumps into bed with them. And then that's just left. So, join a witch school, won't you, and have random zombie sex. Why? Wow, one of the things that probably frustrated me most, there's a character in here who is for the most part likable, very likable, and that we can empathize with most. She's modeled on Stevie Nicks. And when I saw that name in the credits, I mean, I had the highest hopes for this character bringing some redemption to the other characters. Because this one is attuned to natural forces, or seems to be, and sensitive to them. But she gets thrown into a kind of self-made hell of eternally repeating a moment in school when she was horrified at having to kill and dissect a frog, while the others, you know, just go on doing the things they do. This show, through this scene I'm talking about, and its general, everything else it does, an extremely cynical view of the afterlife. Stevie Nicks herself appears in the show, and this should have been very cool, but it was pointless. She's just there playing piano as if invited over specifically to just provide background music to the events in these people's lives. Why did she come over, you know? How did that go? You want to come stay with us for a little while? We understand you have a busy schedule, but just stay there and just kind of play some music in the background. You'll see some drama, extreme supernatural stuff going on, but just ignore it. Just play, just be you musically. Make what happens around you feel like a music video for a little while. It's pointless. I love Stevie Nicks, and I wanted to love how they were tipping their hat to her with this, but they did not do it in the right way, and I wish Stevie would have said no to this whole thing. Maybe one of the biggest points about this, these girls are supposed to be in a witch school, but no education occurs. It's the old premise problem with the Harry Potter books and movies. Old people take in youngsters to teach them magic and witchcraft, but then act surprised and shocked when they run around in the middle of the night using what they learned on each other or on the teachers themselves. Of course this happens. They're kids. They need to be kids first and develop a moral compass through equal guidance and individual experience. So when nasty intentions are obvious in someone, as in the case of this Draco Malfoy character from Harry Potter, all the supposed wisdom is shown to be anything but wisdom. And that knowledge used is already in the wrong hands. So these girls are in this house that's called a school, but it's really not. They're just there in this house. And every now and then they are gathered for a test. You know, show us you know how to do such and such, but they have to just figure it out by whether or not they happened to have wandered into the right room at the right time to see an older woman doing something. So find it in yourself. Yeah, I get that much, you know. We all have everything we will ever need already within us, but most people don't know how to do that or don't want to do that, or they get a glimpse of it and they're afraid of it, so they run away from such stuff that is already inherent within themselves. I get that. That's a one point to make, but it's only a glimpse and they treat it as some insignificant thing. Wow. No, I was wrong. This is the biggest point that pissed me off the most. At the end, there is a speech with stirring music about we strong, proud women are witches, and you, the next generation, will teach those after you. Stand up for yourself, girls. This all rings very hollow, though, after everything that preceded. Because what now? They'll get older and allow new girls in to just live there and screw around uttering spells without the extremely important value of the intention behind those words. You know, maybe a couple of you can become zombies in addition to witches like these others and invite a new young teenage girl to have sex with your lifeless body. I cannot recommend seeing it unless you want to watch this. If you enjoyed the first two and you enjoyed the acting is really what carried us through. What frustrating. That's the single word I'm left with. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I had to rant about it, had to talk about it. Wow, we watched the pilot episode of seasons 4 and 5 and couldn't make it through. The one about the carnival, the clown, the evil clown, that was just like Hostel. It was just, look at how gross and evil these people are. I didn't care about anybody. We gave up on it. The hotel one, that was just utterly contrived. We're giving up on the whole series. I may or may not revisit the first 2 seasons at some point in the future, but that's all. Watch the first 2 seasons, and then you might give a shot to this one, the 3rd season, Coven. I think you'll know, though, by this one, whether or not you want to continue. Thanks for joining, everybody. See you next time.